Hey guys, welcome back to our next video where we're talking about active information gathering. So in the previous video I've explained you the whole procedure of information gathering, why it's important, why do we need to know how to gather and what information to gather, and of course what's the difference between active and passive. I told you also that there is no such thing as separation, like no matter if you are engaging with a physical person, with a server, with a web app, we need to gather information, to use that information for searching for vulnerabilities, use the vulnerabilities for exploiting, and use the payload after the exploit is done. So guys, now we're talking about active information gathering. So the previous video was about passive, now we're talking about active. I'm gonna cover different tools, then we're gonna basically see how to use keep note in order to extract the information. So now the first tool that I'm going to show you today, guys, is of course NMAP. This is like the rank 1 tool for gathering information. When you type NMAP, you see all the options available. NMAP basically is tool. I'm going to explain how it's working and of course how to download and install it. So basically the NMAP is a command line tool, and command line tool means that it's run throughout the terminal. So the NMAP is literally network mapper. That's its point, that's why it does network mapper. So the NMAP is built in most of the Linux OS or hacking OS, and it's included in the most of the package and repositories. So if you manage to install NMAP, you need to type your package manager, let's say apt-get install nmap. There is a guide for installing nmap on Ubuntu, on most of any Linux OS, but if you have struggle with that thing of installing nmap, you can go to nmap download, go to the link, and then you can install for a specific version you want. We have the Linux version, we have the Windows installer, and so on. So basically here is the NMAP, right? So we have all the options about the NMAP. As I told you, it's just a network mapper and it's active information gatherer. So the NMAP is a thing that basically sends packet to a specific IP on a specific port, or not the port, just an IP, and requests an information from the server. It can be spoofed, you can spoof your packets and so on, but the main idea is to send packets which basically are requesting information from that server. So NMAP is a key thing to have in common when you are doing any engagement whatsoever. NMAP really is the tool that can grant us a lot of information about a target, including the ports and so on. So you may ask a question, why do we need to know the ports? Why do we need an active scan when we can go with the passive one? Because the active is not invisible, we are not invisible into active. I know there are multiple questions and I'm gonna try to answer every single one of them. So as I said, we have two main types of scanning. We have an active information gathering and passive information gathering. Throughout the passive information gathering, we are asking an open source intelligence or open sources for that information. But the information we have from there is basically not enough to hack into the system, but it's enough to start from somewhere. So by my opinion, this is the kickstart for hacking procedure. So with the information provided, as you saw in the previous video, we've extracted all the IP addresses of that website, we've extracted all of the portals of that website, we have dev, mails and so on. We've extracted the whole DNS map, we've extracted the emails, we've extracted as much as possible with that open source intelligence thing. So from there we have several attack vectors, and attack vectors is basically how to attack, the process of attack. So we have one attack vector towards the emails of that company. So we can use social engineering attacks in order to send the spoofed emails to that office emails of that company in order to hack our IE. So this is a social engineering attack. So we have one attack vector from that passive information gathering. We have second attack vector, which is basically infrastructure one. So from there we go to different IP addresses, scan different IP addresses, see what we have. So we want to penetrate through that IP addresses to that server. So we have second attack vector. And we have a third attack vector. We can go and browse different web apps and try different web application vulnerabilities and attacks. So we have three attack vectors. So as you can see, the passive information gathering is the process needed for building an attack vectors, but for expanding those attack vectors, we need to gather active information. Like if you want to choose the first attack vector for social engineering attack, we need to gather a lot more information about that email, about the people, about the company inside, about their emails, so we can spoof ourselves better. So we can just do that kind of like actively. If we want to scan the IP addresses, as I told you, this is active information gathering. And if we are putting some parameters into different fields, again we are talking about active information gathering. So as I said, the passive one is more than enough just for creating an attack vector, but for expanding the attack vector, we're gonna need active information gathering, since it's having more detailed information. It's shrinking the circle, it's getting us into details. So that's why we're gonna need active information gathering. And one of the tools we accomplish that thing is called NMAP. So keep in mind that NMAP scanning is active. So if you do not have permission to run NMAP scans, you can end up going to jail or even to arrest with some kind of warranty right there. So keep in mind that this is a serious thing. NMAP is serious too. It's scanning co-active, so you have to be really careful and do anything with the permission. Do not do anything without the permission, guys. So the whole point of an NMAP is very simple. The NMAP is just to, as I said, which sends packets and waits for a response. And that response is granting us that information. So the NMAP works both on TCP and on UDP. Of course, on TCP is slightly better, but we can force NMAP to work at UDP. If you want, you can go and type man NMAP. Man stands for manual, and this is basically the whole manual page of that NMAP thing. So it's telling us what to do, how it's working exactly, what different parameters are all about, and so on. And if you want more shorter version of that help menu right here, just type NMAP without anything after it. So we are prompted out with basically options for NMAP, and we have to basically read all that single options and to have an idea what does it happen. But before that, let's just run a quick scan to, let's say, our gateway. So route to see my gateway, and then type nmap 192.168.1.1. So as you can see, the nmap started and the report was done, so the packets flew back to me really fast. So after I type nmap, I send the packets, and after I see that output, the packets are now to me. So in that case, we have that host is up information, we have the latency, we have not shown 996 closed ports, which means that we have 4 opened, and we have listed the 4 open ports. So here you should have more knowledge about the ports, like what port stands for what, like port 80 stands for HTTP, you need to know how the HTTP is working and so on. Port 1900 stands for UPnP, of course you should work how UPnP works and so on. So I told you before, I'm going to tell you again that cybersecurity is really hard because you have to know a lot of information. There are literally a lot of information. So yeah, the port ID represents a service of HTTP, and this means that it's opened. So we can look for attacks on that port. If we don't find anything interesting, we can go and look for attack on the next port, on the next, and the next, and so on. But now, as I said, the router knows that I've sent packets, and the router knows that we are interacting. So let's try different options for nmap. Let's try, you see there are really a lot of options. So let's try an options like SS, ST, SA, SU for UDP scan. So let's see if there are some UDP ports right there. So in order to input some options, we need to type minus or dash SU, capital U. Then we have to wait a little bit again. Now there are packets flowing by. Of course, we cannot see them, but they are there. And if we manage to click the up arrow or any arrow, we're gonna see a progress of NMAP. And as you can see, it's about 6.97% down. So UDP is always slower, and of course UDP do not care if the packets are received or not. That's why most of the services are using the TCP protocol, because TCP protocol ensures the packets are there, and if not, we are prompted out with some kind of an error message. But UDP is a protocol which basically sends packets and do not really care what happens with that packet anymore. Of course, it's faster, but it's not that secured. So there are services running UDP when they don't rely so much on stability instead of fast speed. So let's see the progress, about 30% down. Now let's minimize that and run another NMAP scan, so this time green or yellow actually. Now let's type NMAP 192.168.1.1 and let's type SV for enumerated versions. So basically this means let's just type NMAP and see the output of that message. So NMAP, let me check that, SV probe open ports to a terminal services version. So as you can see from the previous terminal right here, actually I'm gonna close that, I don't need it anymore. So from here you saw that we've only saw the open port and the services right there and the state of the port which is opened. So when we have a state, we know that this port is being touched. So what I mean by that, right now I am running a Windows 7 machine right here, right? So if I open to firewall here, go to inbound rules, I have port 193.110.445 open for net bias. So if I scan my actually let's minimize that as well and scan here nmap 192.168.1.1.02, which is my Windows 7 machine, I'm gonna get the information about the ports as well. So we have two ports open, 445 and 139. So this means why we see only two ports. Why don't we see 1000? Well, because I didn't touch the rest of them. I leave them default. The default closed ports are not shown here. But if I manage to close one port, its state is gonna be closed. So that's the point here. And if the state is filtrated, that means the port is behind some kind of firewall, and the NMAP is not able to identify the nature of that port. So that was the point I wanted to make. So in that case, the ports 80, 1900, 49152 and 3 are being touched by the router, and the other ports which are not displayed were not being even touched. Okay, so the NMAP scan is almost ready for the UDP, of course. Let's see what we have on the UDP, and then let's run a scan against the ports. So here we have open ports 53, 67, open filtrated. This means that the NMAP cannot decide for sure what's the state of a port. It's or opened or filtrated, one of them. So now let's try and basically run some options to see the different results. So now I'm gonna clear that and type nmap 192.168.1.1 and with the options SV. Now we are supposed to shrink the circle again and to extract more information. But as I told you before, any scan that we are doing here is active. So you have to be really careful about what you're doing. So we are waiting. See the progress. It's almost done. Now as you can see, I am targeting and scanning my local network, but when we are talking about real engagement and real scanning, when we are scanning real IP addresses, NMAP works quite the same. But as I told you before, if you have no permission, do not perform any of these actions. You can end up going to jail, and the things are serious here. Okay, so it's almost ready. Now on that terminal, I'm gonna try another option. So nmap 192.168.11 SO. SC, sorry, for default scripting. So basically, nmap works with different scripts, and by typing SC, we are engaging the default script, so we extract more information. So you see we have HTTP auth, nothing, we have HTTP 1.1, which is the version, we have basic realm, TP-Link wireless, and so we have our router's model. We have its brand, we have even its model. So we have login incorrect, so nmap tried some request there, and we have the other two ports. So this was the difference between running nmap as a default and engaging default script. So now let's take a closer look at the versions. So we have port 8, HTTP version TP-Link, we have the model as well. We have the IPOS, UPnPD, again the model here. So we have Huawei, model, and some modem right here connected. Therefore we have port by SDK for UPnP and the version. Nice. So we have the MAC address again, we have service info, OS, possible OS, and so on. So one of the coolest things about NMAP is that it is also capable of trying to scan for the operational system. So if I type nmap and the options O for OS, the nmap is going to start scanning for the operational system version. So see, OS detection performed, and now we have OS CP, Linux kernel, and we have the kernel version, OS details, Linux, likely TP-Link, and the operational system of TP-Link, which is the Linux with that kernel. If I run the same scan again against the Windows 7 machine, let's see what we can get. Just wait a little bit, and we have running Microsoft Windows 208 8.17 from Vista. So it's basically trying to guess, and it's granting us a percentage of what is possibly the highest one. So we have, as you can see, OS, Microsoft, so we know it's a Windows machine, and it's either one of these versions right here. In most of the case, Windows 7, CP1, or Windows Server. Okay. So now let's try a full nmap scan and let's compare the results. So here I'm going to try with the default one, so nmap 192.168.1102, and here I'm going to type nmap 192.168.1102, SC default script, SV enumerate versions, O enumerate operational system, and the best thing I forgot to mention is that we always need to save our nmap. So to save the file, we just need to type arrows and type the name of the file. So in that case, nmap.txt. Okay. So enter that. And I mistyped the command. Okay. Or even we can use the output options. So nmap.txt. So the capital O is for operational system, small o is for output, and all these options have displayed when you type nmap help or just nmap. So here the nmap is done. As you can see, it was really fast because there is nothing useful right there. So we have just the open ports, the MAC address, and that's it. So now let's wait here to see what is this output from this command. And you can see the difference from there. So it's almost ready. and it's even outputting the file into that directory, which, as I told you, is really important. We always need to keep a track. So we have a lot of things here. We have the port NetBIOS, Microsoft Windows NetBIOS. Then we have 445, Microsoft DS, Windows 7 Ultimate, Service Pack 1, and we have the workgroup. So if we go here, Windows 7, Computer, Priorities, let's see, we have Windows 7 Ultimate, Service Pack 1. So it was identified correctly, and even the workgroup. So go back here, we have the MAC address, and therefore the script results. We have again the OS version, we have the computer name, which was correct as well, NetBIOS computer name, workgroup, system time. We have, as you can see, compare the results. Nothing to compare. See what's the difference. So if I cat NMAP, we see that report here, which is really useful. When penetration testing is doing and it's under action, you need to store everything in separate directions. You need to store your information with proper software for storing information. You need to keep yourself really structured, because this is really important when we are talking hacking. Because, as I told you before, there is a moment of time onto the engagement when there is really a lot of information upon our shoulders, and the chance of us getting lost is really high. So it's always better to store anything, to get yourself a rest, because as you can see, we need to know a lot of things. And imagine when we need to go for, let's say, 10 machines, do 10 different information gathering procedures, compare the results, see when the weak point can occur, and literally you can be lost easy. So you have to be really careful about that. So this is the simple NMAP guide about scanning. I told you, when you need something, go there, read it on your own, read what suits for you guys. The point of watching videos and getting yourself to teach or to learn is not to learn the basic idea and how someone else is doing that, but to learn what that is doing. Like when you're going to make your driving license, you are not learning how to drive that specific car on that specific road. You are learning how to drive any car whenever you want, right? So the point is quite the same. I'm not telling you in that video use only that options right here to get only that results. No, it's really incorrect. I'm telling you how NMAP works, how it's sending packets, how to get the option view, how to get the man page, and therefore you need to go there, explore that options, and see what works best for you. I'm not teaching you how to run that car on that road. I'm telling you how the car should run, and you should basically see for yourself where to drive that car. So I hope I was clear about the NMAP. Go explore the options, go explore the man page if you need. Try some experiments, because the best teacher is the practice. No matter how much I'm explaining the things here theoretically, you need to sit there and try to run that commands, see the NMAP, try different commands, try different options, go there, try to read more advanced details, try them as well, see how they work, and that's how you actually learn. So this is the NMAP. I hope it was interesting for you, and we're gonna be moving into more information gathering, then into the hacking itself. So thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video.